Alright guys, welcome to Sven Salon's Let's Play Stardew Valley, Spring 26 of Year 1. Awesome, I just hit the 50k achievement. Before we get going with the episode, though this will actually end up going online and airing long after the day, because I'm going to put up one a day, and I'm recording these faster than one a day, long after this news comes out, but I gotta just give out a shout out to Jared Dines. He's a YouTuber that plays guitar, also drums, does a bunch of other things, has some really cool challenges, some interesting content. Since I really like heavy metal, which may sound funny from someone who keeps talking about how great the Stardew Valley theme track is, but I started watching him do just some like heavy metal related content and doom metal and some other things. But he's the first YouTube musician ever that I'm aware of to be on the cover of Guitar World. Guitar World magazine, that is. And today, when I'm recording this, April 21st, 2020, he's sort of putting out the announcement that he's sort of the centerfold interview and the cover Guitar World. That's a really big deal for someone who's sort of made their career through YouTube in music to be put into that position. And so, shout out to that. That's amazing. And if anyone's watching this episode, because as of the time of me recording this, I think I have 2 subscribers, but hopefully that'll grow. And if not, whatever. I'm doing this for fun and to put out content for people that are interested in it. For those of you if you like metal, or you want to support a musician, or you want to help set the trend of giving more acknowledgments to people who make their career through digital media via YouTube and so on, rather than sort of traditional routes, maybe go out and buy that issue of Guitar World. I think you can also, if you go and find his video, he has a link to getting a subscription to the Guitar World magazine, a year subscription for like $15 or something. And since we're during the time of COVID and all that, they'll give a subscription to an essential worker of your choice when you buy that. I think that's the deal going right now. But we should support him, should buy those issues. That, at least his issues, so that Guitar World sees that, hey, it's viable picking someone like a YouTube musician to be on the cover. People will be interested in that. We should do that more in the future. That way we can see more really interesting, really talented people who may not necessarily be in one of these like platinum artist bands or known to most people, but instead to use the media of YouTube and the internet rather than, say, like the radio and the record store, which may eventually lead to underground bands or lesser known bands getting more recognition, getting more acknowledgement. There's a bunch of other reasons too, and hey, I just like Jared Dines' content, so maybe go out and support him. Up to you. But I just thought I'd give that shout out before we get going on this episode. You'll notice from my inventory that I'm planning to run by the blacksmiths, by the museum, and by the community center on this day. Of course, water crops. Again, no real social going on yet. It's spring of year 1. It's not a big priority. Skills are starting to come along nicely. I'm at, what is this, 10, 21, 26 in 26 days. So I've caught up that gap that I had behind, and hopefully we'll pick up 2 more skills by the end of the season, and it'll be 1 level per day. That's the hope. It's starting to get to a point where it'll be a little slower with mining and combat and so on. But I've got 3 days to pick up 2 levels. I think that's doable. Oh, and I always found it funny that it says things like, oh, I'm a small holder. At this point, you get a different title as your skills go up, which is kind of interesting. So tomorrow will be clear and sunny. Today's luck is very displeased. Not great, but that's okay. Okay. Pop those. Pop those. Make sure to water that ancient fruit. Okay, there's 2 of the 3 strawberries that got missed before. Wondering where those were going to show up. I had guessed it was this cluster of 3, but maybe I somehow missed those on one of the days. Not surprising. fill that water pail. Are these ready? No, they're not. I'm actually not going to get another harvest out of these, so I actually don't even need to water them. So I'm actually going to stop watering these strawberries, because I will not get a third harvest out of them. So, drop that off. Nope, I didn't water the cat. I do that all the time. You'll notice I'm 8k past where I was originally saying I would like to be at a minimum. So making good progress. I guess. Those will be ready by the evening. I just have to make sure that I craft the sprinklers. It's not a huge deal, since I just realized that I don't actually need to water these for the rest of the season. I do need to water that. Need to make sure that keeps getting watered. That's kind of quasi-important to water that. Pet the kitty. Super important things. Pet the kitty. Alright, let's run by the traveling cart, market cart, traveling market, whatever it's called. Down this way. With my shiny Templar's blade. And maybe, if I have the luck of the gods themselves, devil's own luck, there will be, hip hip hooray, hopefully, red cabbage. Red cabbage. Artichoke seeds. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that sold here. So no artichoke, but... no, cheese is not. I didn't think so. But it is here. But I need to get... this anyways. I'm not going to buy a cheese just to fill that. I've picked up cherries already. I've picked up... oh, I have an apple tree planted, so that's 2 of these. If I throw in a jelly of some sort, that's 3. If I make anything to get honey, that's 4. I'm going to get animals, so I will easily finish this. I'm probably going to get a pomegranate tree anyways, for the other bundle. So then, getting milk and cheese, it's going to take care of these 2, and then I might as well get a sheep, that's 3. Large eggs show up at any time, I'm good to go. But, again, we must acknowledge the fact that I will need a rabbit's foot at some point. Especially if I hope to finish all of those by first year. But whether or not you can finish the community center in the first year is entirely contingent upon luck. So, if you ever hear anyone bragging that, like, oh, I always finish on the first year, they're either using some sort of mod, or cheating, or full of it. Because it's luck dependent, to my knowledge. Because you have to get a red cabbage, as far as I know, via that Friday or Sunday market. Little cart thing over there. And if you don't, or the night market, which is, that's true. And if you don't get a red cabbage there, you can't get cabbages till your second year. I don't know if I was going to upgrade the hoe, I needed to do it today. I'm not going to worry about that. Actually, I could do it tomorrow and go pick it up on the 1st. But no, I've got to do some hoeing before the 1st to get things set up, so I'm not going to go with the hoe. That's right on. What was the reward? Don't care. Okay, so now I swing by the store, sell those strawberries, make money. If I'm, let's say, above 40k, I will buy the backpack. squid kids? Sure. I'll kill some squid kids, probably. Oh, no, it's only 3. About 40k. That ain't happening. Steven, you're funny. Silly, silly spin. Anyways. I know they'll reorganize. Not too worried about it. I have to say, why did I bring one more than I needed, and then I realized, no, it just reorganized. Not reorganized, I got one from the geodes. So tappers, get that done more when I go to the desert. Museum, I've got half of what I need to be able to start speaking Dwarvish. So, spoiler alert for any of you that are new to play. I guess maybe now that I've said it, I should explain it. When you get all of the Dwarven scrolls, once you have all of them, you get a dictionary, like a translation guide for Dwarvish. So then you can go talk to the dwarf. You get to learn Dwarvish and go talk to the dwarf. You haven't met the dwarf yet in this playthrough. I know where he is, obviously, but I haven't met him yet. Partly because I don't have a reason to go meet him yet. In part because I don't have a tool that makes it easy to go meet him yet. I could always use bombs to go meet him. That's another way to get there. But I would rather use my bombs efficiently for clearing monuments and so on. Something else it's not Stardew related at all, but it's something I realized today. And I don't know why I never realized it before this point. I've been replaying the original Final Fantasy VII, part because it's like my favorite game of all time. I can hear the hate already. I'm like 100 different groups. But also because eventually the remake support will come to PC. So I'm kind of refreshing my memories of the game. But it's the first time I've ever done a setup that I decided to try. I'm still in my sort of replay through in Midgard. And multiple times I've done a playthrough where you do like 100% completion, you get every item, do every possible little thing. Like I've done that before. More than once. But I tried a different, like, obviously it's early game, I don't have a lot of materia, don't have a lot of items, don't have a lot of skills, because I'm in Midgard for the first time still. But I just decided on a whim to try and gear up certain characters a little differently, put their position in the party a little different. Ooh, this is getting risky. Don't make me restart this day. Yeah, I'm not gonna die just for a whole bunch of gold. Especially when I really want to get 2 more levels down. Emerald. That's my first emerald. Those bats were really unfortunate when there was that much gold sitting there. I'm not gonna die and lose a ton of money. So what I was going to say, obviously not a lot of material, not a lot of gear, low level, etc. But I'd always thought of Aerith as being this really, or Eris, depending which translation and which version of the game and so on you're running. Some people don't realize that they spelled her name two different ways in English. But that character I always thought of as like, oh, her melee abilities are just really piss poor, really bad. Always keep her in the back line, give her spells, let her heal, but like, never do physical attacks with her. Not if you're actually like wanting something out of that turn. Maybe if you're trying to save MP or something. You know, just do a wimpy physical hit. Well, I think its name's like Eligor or something like that. There's a monster in the train graveyard in Midgard that's a relatively rare spawn. And I always get this item off him. You can steal something called a serrated staff off him. It's a weapon for her. Every playthrough I've ever done, I've sort of wandered that area until he spawns, used the steel material, which you'll have just gotten right before that, to steal the serrated staff from him. It's like the first example of the steel material being really useful, which is great because you just got the steel material. And I've always stolen the staff, but I've always equipped it on her and just kept the mentality, because at that point by default she's in the back row, so she does half physical damage, and she always hits super weak because her like first two weapons are really weak attack values. And I've just always had that mental notion that Eris doesn't do damage with physical abilities. Like, that's just not her character. Well, for whatever reason today I noticed, hey, that staff when you get it. I think most of the characters have attack values on their weapons. Like Cloud's weapon, because you still haven't, at this phase, even found a single upgrade to his weapon yet, which he has a really high natural strength, so it doesn't matter. But his weapon's like 18 for its attack value, which factors into how much damage you can do, but his natural strength greatly compensates for that low value once you're sort of at like the 10 to 12 level, which is where you'll be at this stage, if you've not just been avoiding fights. And then I think Tifa's got weapons that are like 20 to 22 type of range. Barrett's similar. Eris' this weapon that drops, I want to say is either 32 or 36 damage, and has like 4 slots on it. And I was just like, wait. She's got a better weapon than anyone else you can have in your party at that phase, by a good bit. And I'd always kept her in the back line, because that's her default position, and I always set her up as the healer, and was just like, yeah, she's going to be the healer back line. I still have the healer material on her. But here's the deal. I moved her from backline position to frontline position, and while her natural strength is way lower than Cloud's, pleasant surprise, she kind of trucks when you move her position. Because, let's just talk math for a little bit. I'm not going to break down the actual formulas for damage in Final Fantasy VII, because they're a little bit complicated. So let's just say for ease, your gun level directly affects your damage, as does the weapon stat, as does your strength stat. Her strength stat's a little low, and her level's lower than Cloud's right now. But her weapon is like double the strength of Cloud's weapon, something like that. And so even though like her natural strength is like, I want to say like 8 points right now lower than Cloud's or something, and her level's a little bit lower, she's hitting only slightly less damage than Cloud does. Which, as soon as Cloud gets a weapon upgrade or moves up like another level, he'll pass her because of his stat growth and his levels. But now I have like 2 really viable physical hitters in the party. And it's just like, wow, I never thought of that character that way. Which I don't think is the intent. A, most players probably didn't get this item. And B, like, this is an item that you're supposed to purchase way later in the game. Because while you can steal it off this monster, its availability for purchase comes way later in the game. So I'm not going to say you're not supposed to have it, because I put it on the monster intentionally. But it's one of those, like, did you pay attention type of deals as to whether or not you'll have it. And I'm going to sell that ruby. Like, are you doing everything you could? Are you stealing from every monster? Blah, blah, blah. Determines whether or not you'll have it. And I just was kind of like, hey, that's cool, but it's probably only briefly, but at least for now, a character that I'd always sort of mentally thought, that character can't do that other role. At least at this stage of the game, it definitely can, which is cool. Cool to learn something new about a game I've been playing for 20 years. Let's see, it came out, what was it, like 97 or 98? I don't think I played it till almost 2000, but it's 2020 now, so yay. Learn new things every day. That bomb for a little while. So yeah, I'm finally starting to get some gold, which is great. It's getting towards the end of the season. Really hoping I can fill out most of those plots. Actually, since it's the 26th, I've got a little extra time and energy. I don't really need to water them, but I'm gonna start putting these spring seeds down. Just keep those plots. So that's what I need. I'll keep that soil from turning. Back. We'll keep it tilled, and I believe that will stay when the season changes. So we'll make 2 more gold bars, 2 more iron bars. Yay! Mix seeds. I'm gonna actually clear some of these trees. I don't like having my view blocked by the trees. Open. Oh, you got pain in your face, that's fun. Yeah, so my wife just came in and was talking with me. She, has a bit of an art business that she does. Kind of as a hobby, but if it ever gets off the ground enough that she makes good enough money that she doesn't need to do a 9 to 5, then we'll make that transition. She was painting and got a little bit of paint on her eyebrow. It's kind of funny. I think 22 might be enough with this axe. Nice. Whew, that was close. Yes. See about finding another leak. Actually, I can put 10 more seeds down. But I should have 145 spaces covered at this point. Well, when the season changes, they'll still be tilled. Spirits are very happy today. Ooh, happy days. that won't have fruit again. Just need to water that. I'm sure there's a few people watching who are like, hey, you could have gotten way more money if you'd bought X number of seeds and done this, that, and the other, but I'm trying to get all the skills up and get sprinklers and so on set up. I haven't been planting that many more seeds. Yes, I could have been eating some of them to get my energy back, so on and so forth. But it's also more time spent, less time in a given time frame of the day that I can spend on mines and so on. You know, every time you play it, you do it a little differently. And this is just the way I ended up doing it on this playthrough. And it's fun. Whatever, maybe I'll eat that in the mines or something. My obsidian edge. It's Saturday, so just straight to the mines. If I find a leak, which I won't, because there's one on the way up to the bus stop. Yeah, no leaks, so no worries. That's one squid kid. Yeah, purple mush. Obsidian edge, unfortunately, is a very slow sword, as far as swords go, but it's a strong sword. Comes to the amount of damage it does. In fact, it's free. Sorry, I had to mute the mic for just a second. I had to cough for some reason. Not sure why. A little tickle in the throat at the moment. Alrighty. Nope. Go away. Okay, copper bar. Let's eat that. Not the copper bar, but the secondary. Yay, some iron gold. The nice thing about having hit 5 and mining and gotten that ore perk, it's a lot easier now to get the ore. I actually should have been planting more spring seeds than I did. I didn't do the math in my head, if you will, about how many spaces I need covered to plant the blueberries. It's not end all be all. I have plenty of energy probably on spring 1 or summer 1, but it would have made things better and more efficient, etc. But if I have sprinklers, then all's fair and nothing more. You guys probably can't hear it, but my baby girl Luna, cat, little bobtail, is over here meowing at me. Some of you are probably in the comments are thinking right now, pet the kitty, pet the kitty. No. Luna's very, very particular about when she gets petted and how. So I tend to not pet her unless she walks directly up to me. She's currently behind my monitor meowing. If you go to pet her when she doesn't actually want it, she will just leave. So unless she directly approaches me, I respect that space she wants. Food bowls currently, because we have a young puppy who wants to get into the cat food all the time. One of the cat food bowls is behind my monitor, because he can't get to it there. Ooh, that was a nice crit. You're a bat. scared now? It's barely lunchtime and I'm getting out of health from eating a mushroom. Maybe I'll find another one. Glad I ate that mushroom. It's going south fast. I don't know why going south is a negative. Oh, fudge. What did I lose? That's not too bad. I'll eat that. That's fine. Not starting the day over 1600 gold. A little bit. Didn't lose anything of true importance. It's obviously with my HP this low, I'm not gonna go back into the mines. That'd be suicide. But I can set myself up to make some more bars. I'll go ahead and sell that. So 40, 80, 120, 160. Actually need one more row. Even fit the 200 blueberries. Let's see if I can find a leak somewhere. Don't really have much energy. But maybe I can get some. There we go. That's some seeds. That's 20. Now rather than 50, it'll be 70 plus 95. It's 165. It's a much better number than where I was at previously. That out of the trash before. I was planning to do it on the 28th to come down here and pick up the forgeables. Forging items, forgeables. Not forgeables, is it? That's probably it. If not, it should be. What I should do? Check that grab pot. Machines set up that have been running. Still has bait, that's good. Probably should have gotten 300 wood, yeah, to have gotten over here. But I can always do that. Well, I'll eat this fried calamari. I'll do some wood cutting. I have 300, I'll cut that and do that tomorrow. deficit, energy-wise. So I've actually filled every space I currently have tilled. Side of the tree, and the other falls to the left. Why don't you block my view? It's my people line. There's going to be a bunch more of these spawning in like 2 days. Just going to open this space up a little. I've got enough to cut one more tree. Let's cut this one. It's 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. 25th. My 200. Good snack. Need to upgrade my axe before I can do that. That'll be something I do relatively early in the summer. Same with the pickaxe. Total shy. But I can pick that up tomorrow, go down to the beach, gather all those things before they disappear. Hoe out that little bit of space. Whatever gold or whatever metals it is that are processing there. The last ones I have for now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 65, 60, gold ore. Yeah. 60 more gold ore. 10, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 60 more gold ore. 50 more gold ore. To get the sprinklers that I wanted. Can I pick up 50 gold ore in a day? And do those other things? Maybe. Probably not. We'll see. Alright, so passively through that fishing, without really doing anything, 350 here, plus, say, 850 for easy math, like 1200, without actually having to walk down it, and that's from 3 crab pots. So over like a 2-week period, maybe, it almost got enough to buy another crab pot. So, not a terrible day. Made up for what I lost in the mines through that unfortunate death. Or, I guess not death, but injury. Alright, I will see you guys on the 28th.